The football season's almost over, and let's face it, your team's not going to the Super Bowl, so why watch? Come on over and join us here for the most important show on YouTube, the Prime Time King. With that tower of power himself, 24/7 Fusion Media. Of course, you can't forget that ever mysterious Vigilante Wilson. Barking dogs in the background, as well as Hot Roddy and Ed and Jukebox. And the man who's announcing is being attacked by dogs right now is yours truly, Baron Norman Tang. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the Prime Time King.
Yay!
Yeah, man. Shit, who let the dogs out?
More like who let the dogs in, I tell you.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't really like me being so enthusiastic.
Because you were yelling?
I suppose so, yeah.
Man. Yeah, man, shit. That's all good. Hey, want to say what's up to everybody out there. We are back. Hopefully everybody's doing well. See, we got Lord Thoth in the house. What's going on?
There he is, yeah.
My brother. Saying hey to everybody. What's up? My boy Jeff in the house, man. Low Speckling laptop. My brother, what's going on? Man, Sox Bulletin. Man, how's it going, man? Hell yeah, man. Our very own New Bum Turk saying what's up to everybody. What's up? What's up? Skilly Chow in the house. What's going on?
Honey!
Yeah, man. My man. Skilly Chow roll tight, my brother. Just another red shirt. What's up, man? Red shirt. My boy, what's up, man? There you go. Hopefully, everybody's doing well. Sorry, it's just raining like crazy over here, man. So I'm trying to get it together. Long suffering in the house. Hopefully, you're doing all right. Great to have you here. There you go. Old man is in the house. What's going on? Old man, Sentient Dildo. So Westoids. Yup. Nice to see everybody in the house. Yeah, appreciate you, Socks. There you go. And then we got the dogs back in the house. So, yeah. Shit, other than that, man, how you gentlemen doing?
Oh, I'm doing absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Just trying to keep the dogs from getting so excited this time. I don't know what it is. Someone must be walking a dog outside. Why? I don't know, because it's freaking freezing around here.
I got you.
Oh.
What? Define freezing.
Below zero.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, I don't know what that is. I mean, it's currently 67 here, so I'm fine.
Yeah, rub it in.
It's quite comfortable, actually. Sun was
Actually, I lied. Well, the sun was out here, too. But that didn't mean anything. Actually, I lied. It looked like it was about 3 degrees. That was about an hour ago, though.
Still
but we're going to get to a low of minus 14, so, yeah.
Been there, done that. Not pretty.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do it every year. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I guess
the month I moved from New York to Arizona, the average temperature for that March was negative like 14, 15. Like, so for the average for the whole month was in the negatives.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I remember my grandfather, he moved from here down to New Mexico because he wanted to get away from all the snow. He was tired of it. And that year they happened to get hit with a ton of snow, so he's out there shoveling anyways. It's like, well, that's what you get up in the mountains.
Yeah, a few days ago we had, people taking pictures like, oh my God, snow. And I'm like, it's like, it comes down and it doesn't even make it to the ground because the ground is still so warm. Like it literally is radiating enough heat that the snow melts before it gets there.
Man.
Yeah, and all the birds that flock down there every winter go, yeah, whatever. This isn't snow. That's why we're here. This isn't snow. This is just some white stuff in the air.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I said, it doesn't last very long, and the whole coming down happened for maybe an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Celsius? You want to know what it is in Celsius, huh?
Say what
Fair
do you
night.
think about what I dropped on in
Oh yeah,
Neon?
yeah. I got the one. Yeah, I suppose. Is there another one you got in there?
3. He's got 3 in here.
Oh wow. Okay. There we go.
Yeah. Let's drop the first one. Hopefully.
Yeah, sure. Let me get.
I thought it'd be interesting. Hopefully, all the
Sure.
comic book lovers will have a blast with this one.
Okay, just a moment here. Let me get over to the screen. There we go. And hopefully that is there for you. Oh, there we go. So this is coming in from Bounding Into Comics. Is the one I pulled up here. I figured they're a little bit more reputable than some of the other ones I saw on there. The article is titled Marvel Comics to Seemingly Change Adam Warlock's Origin. Introduce Eve Warlock, who is stronger, faster, and smarter because she's a whammon. Article is written by John F. Trent. And this was dated a couple of days ago, January 26th. So Marvel Comics, in their ever-loving wisdom, announced that they will seemingly change Adam Warlock's origin in an upcoming solo series titled Warlock Rebirth. For those who are unfamiliar with Adam Warlock's origin, the character was first introduced in Fantastic Four number 66. Now, that's a long time ago, folks. And that first appearance, it's revealed he is the creation of a group of human scientists operating out of a place called the Citadel of Science. This group's aim was to create a new race or breed of living beings that they could control in order to conquer mankind. Their initial results were a success with the creation of him, who would later be known as Adam Warlock. However, the scientists failed to implement their control mechanism and contain the sheer power invested into Adam Warlock. And there's a page of Jack Kirby art, it looks like there, talking about that. Warlock revolts against his creators after knowing about their evil intentions. He then harnesses enough energy to leave the planet Earth, and by doing so, he destroys the Citadel of Science and the scientists that built it. It's called Scorch Earth Policy. After leaving Earth, Warlock would eventually get caught in the Watcher's space trap and return to the cocoon which gave him life. The Watcher would return him to Earth, where he would face off against Thor in Thor number 165. They got a couple extra N's in there. Upon awakening on Earth, Warlock encounters Thor, Sif, and Balder. He notes that he is lonely and wishes to find a mate and chooses Sif, that horn dog. A battle breaks out when Warlock sends both Thor and Balder flying while declaring, "Sif must be mine. There are none who oppose me." Thor would eventually gain the upper hand on Warlock by tapping into Warrior Madness. The increased fury would force Warlock to return to his cocoon and shoot off into space, leaving Sif behind. Aww, true love. Warlock would drift through space and eventually running into the High Evolutionary. After the High Evolutionary's plan to create Counter Earth is usurped by his previous creation, Man Beast, Warlock volunteers to serve the humans that the High Evolutionary created in order to prevent the High Evolutionary from destroying the entirety of Counter Earth. Whoa, there's a lot to take in there. Warlock's choice was made because he saw the goodness in the creations of the High Evolutionary. The High Evolutionary not only acquiesced, but provided Warlock with the soul gem before he sent him down to counter Earth. Now, in a blog providing details about the new series, Marvel noted that the series from Ron Mars and Ron Lim, the two Rons, will reveal a never-before-seen chapter of Adam Warlock, fascinating origin. This never-before-seen chapter will introduce a character named Eve Warlock, who is described as someone stronger, faster, and smarter than Adam himself. Of course. On top of being superior to Adam Warlock in what appears to be in every way, she will also strip Adam of all his power, starting with the Soul Gem. Marvel, Marvel, Marvel. Interesting, this isn't the first time Marvel Comics has done something like this. Back in the Incredible Hulk Annual number 6, it is revealed that Warlock didn't actually kill the scientists. Rather, they were being banished to another dimension, survived, and continued their mission by creating a new being. The scientists recruit Dr. Strange for their project to perform a neurological procedure that will bring this new being under their control, unlike their failed attempt with Adam Warlock. The procedure proceeds as Warlock and his fellow scientists wanted, and a new cocoon gives birth to a being called Paragon. After an epic battle with Doctor Strange and the Hulk, who was on the hunt for Doctor Strange, Paragon reveals he had previously learned about Warlock and knew of the scientist's evil intentions. He found a way to subvert their control mechanism and transform into an energy being. He then proceeds to destroy the base known as the Beehive before retreating back into his cocoon. There's a lot of cocoon action I'm noticing here. And this looks like the annual is from 1977. The cocoon would eventually be discovered in New York City, and dragged out of the water. Upon being dragged out of the water, an energy being bursts forth and proceeds to locate the Thing and Alicia Masters. Upon locating the duo, who were enjoying some adult beverages by candlelight, the being reveals itself to be her. Look, hey,
All right,
party.
hold on. Leave it right there. Now go back up.
Okay,
Go back
coming
up.
up. Okay.
Yeah, just leave it right there, man.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, man. So,
I'll just sit back and listen to the rant.
nah, it's just what's up, Pacific? What's up, Zax? Old man, Zacharot. Let me see who else. Shut up. We got
The Thing. Doctor Strange.
All right. Yeah, just want to
Yeah,
say what's
Warlock.
up to everybody. Yeah, so basically what's going on here is come to find out that they're retconning Adam Strange so that there's going to be Eve Strange. So it's going to be Adam and Eve. Wow. Eve Warlock. My bad. Fuck.
Yeah.
Adam Warlock and Eve Warlock. So it's just crazy, man. It's just I don't know, man. And I guess nothing can be original anymore. It's just sad that in today's day and age, they're pulling this shit. And and as you saw from the cover, hell, she looked like she got him by the collar, like she ready to kick his ass. So
of course, she's a whammon.
Well, I mean, outside of the "Did you expect any less?" quote, I could say,
Hmm.
because I mean, it's been going this direction for a while now. So,
Oh yeah.
like, it would surprise me if they didn't do this.
Right.
But beyond that, I mean, this is how ham-fisted they do this shit. They created a villain. Okay, so now your woman is now a bad guy. Did you intend that? I don't think so. Now you're going to try to write around that and make her a good guy in subsequent issues so that, she's not put in a bad light.
Right.
Mhm.
But from the jump, she's attacking an individual who has defended Earth multiple times. He's considered to be a hero at this point. So now she's just a bad guy. Great. Yay.
Yay. And of course, she's got to be stronger, smarter, and faster. Um,
Well,
anything you can do, I can do better.
that's inherently the problem with comics
Mhm.
when they're written by people who run out of ideas. You have to create characters that overstep the character you're going to fight against.
Right.
And it happened with Superman. Every time you turn around, there's some new Superman villain that's stronger than him or faster than him or whatnot.
Right.
The problem was they started out, and if you go way, way, way back to the beginning of Superman, he didn't fly, he leaped.
No. Mhm.
There were things that he struggled with physically that they eventually tweaked out and made him just this omnipotent being.
Mhm.
And they wrote themselves into a corner, and the only way they can get out of it is either dissecting the superhero, and then you get stuff like Invincible and what's the movie Watchmen, stuff like that, where
Right.
not all good guys are good guys kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Or you have to constantly create characters that are bigger, stronger, faster, more powerful, whatever, better in every way, just to pose some sort of threat. Because otherwise, is like, who honestly could threaten Superman in any significant way? It's all the creations that they made after the fact
Mhm.
to do that. Otherwise,
Right.
he's a god. If he wanted, and we've seen those issues, like, what's the one animated show that they did? It was one of the alternate universe ones where it was of Monsters and Kings or something like that.
Yeah.
Where Superman falls into the Mexican desert and ends up being a Mexican Superman, and Batman's actually a vampire and stuff like that. You get these weird one-off stories because they don't know what to do with the characters. They've done everything and they've created a problem. So this is just another one of those. Now you've got an omnipotent character in Adam Warlock. How do you bring him down? Well, you create something bigger, better, faster, stronger, whatever. And they'll write themselves in a corner again, and then they'll have to create something else to fight her.
Right. Oh man.
One of the things is is you need to make a hero or a villain that's more powerful than the hero. I mean, if you have them equally matched with strengths and weaknesses,
right?
Where
That's the logical explanation, right? Is you create a foe that they fight to a standstill every time, and that can be done well.
It can be.
It can get boring over time if 500th time they're going at it, neither of them can win. Then it's like okay, but I mean, for short periods it works really well when the good guy and the bad guy can't win.
Right.
But
right. It's a game of chess.
Right. Exactly. Now it's not about physical strength; it's about mental fortitude. Can they logic their way out of this? But most comic book writers, especially nowadays, can't logic themselves out of anything. So we can't expect them to logic a character's way out of a problem because they couldn't do it in their own life in the first place. And that's why you get time travel as a conclusion to many stories. And which is a complete cop out.
Mm-hmm.
I hate when they use time travel as an out. Like, oh, we'll
Yeah.
just go back in time and fix this. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know, whatever.
Tired of it. It worked great first 2,500 times, but now it's kind of old.
Well, yeah, and plus you're dealing with characters that have been around for so long,
Mm-hmm.
and previous writers have put them into situations that worked in the past. Now they're effectively, all their characters are written into different corners, and they don't know how to get them out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you started getting, the DC reboots, Rebirth, and stuff like that, or all new, all different Marvel, is because they were so bound into the lore they didn't know what the hell to do.
Mm-hmm. The interesting thing too is let the villain win once and have the good guy on the run a little bit, and then and then make the comeback. So I mean, there's many different ways you can do this, especially if you have a made up villain. I mean, it goes right back to like Sherlock Holmes when Sir Arthur Conan Doyle had to come up with Moriarty and have a villain that was on par, not superior, on par with Sherlock Holmes. And of course, it was only one. They only met each other once. Everyone thinks that they met several times, but it was only one time. But I mean, when you
that's hindsight getting blurred by fantasy and whatnot. Like if you truly know the lore, it's not necessarily what people think the lore is.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And it's been too Hollywood-fied, I suppose is the best way to say it. They don't read the literature; they just watch the various movies and TV shows.
Right.
Well,
which are all just interpretations anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. To me, it'll be a quick way for them to turn, like, all right. For this, I'll give you an example. Adam Warlock's about to come out in the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I bet you, depending on how that goes and how people feel about him, you give it about another 2-3 years, you will automatically see this character that we have planted right here on the TV screen. You'll see her show up.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the same thing you see with Doctor Strange's ex-wife. Like, she shows up in the Multiverse of Madness, and then at the same time, she fucking took over his title in real time in comic books.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was that kid at first.
Huh?
Didn't he have that younger girl following him around?
No. Well, I mean, now it's his ex. It's like they have a new, like, he's dead, and they have a new. My brother collects the title. It's called Strange.
Oh yeah.
And it's his ex-wife. She's fucking Sorceress Supreme, and she's fucking a better Doctor Strange than he was, and all this other shit. So here we go.
Well,
man.
I mean, they completely they skipped all of that in Doctor Strange in the MCU, because even in that own movie, Wong is actually the Sorcerer Supreme, not Doctor Strange. Like, they completely skipped over him actually being the Sorcerer Supreme.
Man. But the fact that, she gets introduced at the end of the movie, and then she turns around and has her own title at the same time. We start to see Adam's Warlock for the first time, and now they introduce this chick. How long do you think it'll be before she hits the big screen?
Well, the only thing I think that would make this take longer is the fact that they take so many years in between movies.
Mm-hmm.
They're at best, even if they back up production back to back, you're still talking at least a 3-year swing between movies. So that would be the only saving grace, is that you're not going to see her in 2 or 3 years, because we're not going to even see Guardians until what, beginning of next year or second quarter of next year or something like that?
No, this year. Guardians is like in the summer.
End of year? Okay, or in summer? Okay.
Yeah.
Because the next one out is Ant-Man, and that's in like a week or whatever.
Mhm.
Okay.
And the great, and then we got the great Marvel hero Cocaine Bear also coming up here.
That looks like it could be a funny movie, though.
Oh,
Honestly,
I want to see that. I want to see that so bad.
I mean, the whole idea of it is just. I mean, you'd have to be on cocaine to write that story, and yet it actually happened.
Yeah, I know.
And that poor bear, like, could you imagine that? Like, why am I so wound up? Bears screaming at everything. Ah!
I can't feel my nose.
Right, yeah, everything's numb. But yeah, I mean that could be interesting, even though, like, looking at who's behind it, it's just a strange pairing of what's her face, the one that did the reboot of Charlie's Angels. Isn't she the one that's behind it?
Yeah, you talking about that wasn't Olivia Wilde, wasn't it?
No, Elizabeth Banks, I think it is.
Elizabeth Banks, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So she's the one behind it. So it's now like, okay, well, you did the flop with Charlie's Angels. Are you going to redeem yourself with this?
No.
And
right.
Right, and where are you going to, like, where are you going from here? Because if you're successful at Cocaine Bear,
right,
people are going to want you to do that kind of movie all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of pigeonholes, an individual into those kind of movies. Now, granted, wasn't she a comedic actress in the first place?
Yeah, I think so, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I mean, it lends itself to that, I guess. A bit of slapstick, a bit of, like, off the wall shit. But anyway, like, getting back to the whole Eve Warlock thing, there is a way they could resolve this in a good way. Do I think they will? No. But you could take this as she becomes a threat that Adam Warlock has to face. And at the end of the day, kind of like how he was after Sif in, years ago, you could make it to where she becomes. I mean, we don't know what her DNA is, if she's even from the same DNA. If she's from the same DNA, then that's just fucking creepy. But if she's a completely separate entity that does not share any link to him specifically, it's just another creation from those scientists, then you could say, maybe it's a possible love interest, something that he has to come to terms with, like, because he's never truly had one. Not one that lasted, as long as he has.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would be, I guess on a more humanizing aspect of things. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. That would be pretty cool. But do the writers, do Marvel have it in them to fucking write something that would be deep like that? No, I don't think so, man. I think they'll write it where she'll end up besting them and
right, and then they'll spend
Adam Warlock ain't shit, and here we go. We're about to throw him into the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So here we go.
Well, and like I said at the beginning, it's like their mindset is so strong with, we need to have representation, that they failed to realize that you just created a villain. Now they'll spend the rest of whatever that series is trying to justify her existence. And then they'll cancel that run. Then they'll give her another new number one.
And make it all about
and
her.
Just make it like it never happened and that she's just always a good guy. And it's the same thing over and over again with these writers.
Like they'll give her her own title and she'll try to redeem herself. Like it'll be her redemption arc of being like Harley Quinn, being like bad guy.
Have you seen that? There was an image earlier that I caught wind of. Okay, so the Batman Who Laughs series, right?
Right.
They decided to make a Harley Quinn Who Laughs.
Oh no.
Right? So it has that kind of weird helmet look with the fucked up jawline and the sharp teeth.
It's a female.
It's Harley Quinn.
I've seen a picture of that about a week ago.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it makes no sense. even though I didn't like the Batman Who Laughs, I understood where they were going with that. Like, what if Batman had in an alternate universe had become more like Joker instead of
you didn't like the whole story behind that?
The story was good. I just didn't like the design of the character and that they kept
right. Yeah.
Batman.
I don't think I would have taken it, because the thing is, it's like he's built like Batman, but then by the time he started turning into the Joker, he was like his
he went really skinny. Yeah,
he got all slender and shit. I don't get that, man.
Yeah,
especially if it's supposed to be a mix of both.
Right. And on top of that, they kept bringing other Batman in from other alternate universes to fight Batman. It was just like, enough.
Actually, that shit was actually pretty fucking cool, man. It was a Batman that had like the powers of every Justice League member.
Yeah,
that was interesting. Yeah, I thought, man, because that it ended up being you end up having a negative universe,
right?
That they all came from. I thought that was. I mean, it was different. I mean, think about everything we've gotten since Crisis on Infinite Earths. I figured that was another way of bringing, trying to, and then it was like the war of the multiverses, man, that kicked off after that.
Right. See, yeah, and I didn't mind. Like, I like the whole Flashpoint that brought a lot of that on.
Right.
I like that story, and I like the Green Lantern stories at the beginning of that, where it was, brightest day, or blackest night, brightest day.
Yeah, and the whole like the war of the Rainbow Lanterns and all bringing in.
Yeah,
I think that shit was that was actually some of the best writing
I love that.
The New 52.
Mm-hmm.
That was some of the best writing of the whole New 52 was the Green Lantern series. Batman was good. Some parts of the Justice League was actually pretty good, like Dark Side War, shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they had. But that was in the Aquaman run was good. So they actually had about maybe 5 to 10 titles that maybe had something interesting going on during the whole existence of the New 52.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, they definitely. I mean, it's and you can tell it's with obviously different writers, because you look at the other titles that weren't doing well, and it was just like, where are you going with this? Like. It would get so frustrating. It's like, look at this over here. This is really good. Why aren't you doing this or something similar to this? No, we're going to go way off in left field with this other shit. And then they had to, reboot it all again. And it was just like, what have you done?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure what I've done. I don't know what I've done.
I mean, and again, I used to work with a guy who was, for a number of years, a proofreader for Marvel.
Right.
And he would go through, he'd get advanced stuff, and he'd get the artist bits that went with the dialogue, so he could like see, okay, this is what's going here, and this is what's going here.
Right.
And he would send back like, okay, you need to correct some of these things because it's logically not making sense. And you would get the writers are just like, no, that's how it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And the artists are kind of bound to what the writer says.
Mm-hmm.
They just, the writer says they want this here, so that's what they put there. They don't. They used to have a lot more creative liberty, and I guess now it's artist does this and then artist does that. It's like they're just kind of following along, unless you get individuals like Edelman and Skyver, who were doing both the writing and the art. Then he could kind of make it make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But a lot of the times you had writers who were, that's all they were writers. And they were making these weird leaps in writing logic that kill regular books, but they're, no, because we have art here, we can explain it with the art, and it wasn't making sense. And he said he used to get frustrated all the fucking time with them because he's like, no, I'm telling you, this is bad. Like, this will not go.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he'd be fighting with them forever. And then they never met their deadlines. They'd always be late.
That's a surprise.
Yeah, right. It's not like they're not doing anything else or getting paid for that fucking job.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's true.
But yeah, I mean, this doesn't surprise me, and we all kind of hit the points. We know where this is going. It's not gonna be a good story unless they do certain things, but we don't expect them to do those things. So
I agree. Shit. Any last words on this one? Well, I know New Bomb just said what he said. What about you, man?
Oh, nothing more. I was sitting back listening to you guys pontificate upon that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you can sum it up in a phrase: same shit, different day.
Yeah.
To be honest, my last words on this is I agree with New Bomb. They can actually turn this into something fucking cool, or they can turn this into shit, and more likely they're gonna turn this into shit. So,
yeah,
yeah, man. It's fucked up, but at least we know what's going on with Marvel and how they plan to. If there's ever going to be a replacement of Adam Warlock, here it goes at any point. So.
Well, remember, it is the MCU now.
Right. Right. Well, there you go, man. So, shit, let's, yeah, appreciate that.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Trying to get off of that one. Yeah, that was, that's pretty interesting, man. I hate to see that happen, but we knew it would happen sometime. So that's fucked up.
Well, yeah, I mean.
On your next story here, I actually have a couple of side things with it. If you want to start that off, the Jane Fonda one.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I thought this was.
I would think that's the second one. I think it was going in order. Wasn't that going in order?
Yeah, you're going in order.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah, the whole Jane Fonda worries about the Barbarella, remake or whatever. So, I mean, we all seen what Jane Fonda said a handful of days ago. Climate change is rooted in white supremacy and racism. So we already know she's lost her fucking marbles at this point. Not that she had many left to begin with.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I matter of fact, I think it was like 2 or 3 days ago I read that, and I was like, wow, what? I don't even know, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's funny in this title, she's like, admitting the original could have been a truly feminist movie. If I'm not mistaken, that was a very feminist movie.
I thought it was.
It put a female, arguably, it was the first to put a female in a leading role in those situations to be a quote unquote hero. Granted, it wasn't the best fucking movie. I mean, Barbarella is known for, her being in skimpy outfits more than anything else. Mm-hmm. Pardon me. But yeah, I mean, the idea behind it was definitely feminist. I don't know where she's coming when it could have been truly a feminist movie. Like, okay, sure.
Honestly, at that point, I was like, well, where the fuck were you?
Yeah, right. I mean, you were on set.
Like, you're the star, and you seem like you missed the boat on that shit. Like, I don't get it.
She was too busy going to Vietnam for moral support.
Yeah, well. Yeah, she's, I don't know. After her latest comments recently, I just like, oh, she's still alive? Oh.
Yeah. She's trying to she's trying to seek attention with and of course there's the sycophant media going, it's Jane, we have to listen to her. So,
but do you really?
No. No. So this is from the dailymail.com by a line, Kevin Kahart for the Daily Mail. Piece of shit Jane Fonda shares worry about what new Barbarella reboot starring Sydney Sweeney would look like before admitting the original movie could have been a truly feminist movie. Mm-hmm. Euphoria. I like that word, Euphoria. Breakout star Sydney Sweeney is set to star in a new Barbarella reboot film as the title character originally played by Hanoi Jane. While
No, keep going. No, finish
Okay.
it up. But when you're done with that last little short paragraph, just scroll up to the pictures.
Oh, I will. Don't worry. I'm going to give you your eye candy and your cold shower at the same time here. While little has been revealed about the remake and whether the storyline and style will differ from the original, Fonda sounded skeptical and expressed worry at what it might look like when asked what she thinks about it. I try not to because I worry about what it's going to be. The longtime leading lady, 85, told Hollywood Reporter before implying that she had a few ideas of her own on how to shoot Barbarella, but it was met with deaf ears by the producer. Yeah, because you're batshit crazy. Now, of course, here's the cold shower, and there's the other one.
Yeah, and I don't mind the casting. I mean, honestly, if you look at Barbarella, the first one, and her, you could see the similarities. You know, I mean, if you're gonna do it, you try to be faithful to the original. You know, you can't tell me all those years since Barbarella happened, Jane, with all of her fucking money, couldn't have made or had made a sequel or a better version or a remake or whatever. She sat on her ass until somebody else decided to make the movie, and now she wants to have input. I'm sorry, honey, you're not part of the production crew. Go home. Go retire.
Don't go swaggering in there thinking that you have a say because you starred in the original.
Yeah, you didn't write the original. You didn't direct the original.
Yeah,
and you sure as hell didn't produce the original. So
away. The only thing I'd have to sit back and say, I'd rather see the movie done more to the comics than the Jane Fonda film, but we'll see, right? No.
Well, yeah, I mean that's a crapshoot at this point. Who knows? I mean, hey, Vidge.
Hey, Vidge.
Hey.
What's going on, brother?
Not much. I didn't really interrupt your conversation. I was just chilling.
No, you good. Just wanted to, at least acknowledge you, let you know, say what's up to you.
I hope y'all don't get claimed. I'm watching football in the back. I usually don't. It's funny. I ain't watched football all season, but it's the damn championship. See who going to Super Bowl. KC and Cincinnati. I think the Philadelphia already won the first game.
Yeah, Philly already won, yeah.
So I'm watching the second game. So I'm like,
New Bomb's doing the same thing, man. So it's all good, bro.
Sorry about that. So I don't know how.
No, you good. No, you good. You good. Shit, I'm glad to have both of y'all here, man. So we good.
But this, man, I didn't want to contribute because I had nothing to say. I had nothing. Because I didn't watch the first one. I wasn't gonna watch this. Wait a
minute. You didn't watch the original Barbarella? You didn't
know, man.
What?
I never saw it, so it's like I wasn't going. This is nothing. I had nothing to contribute.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, dude. If I run into another copy, man, you know what? I'm gonna see if I think I might have 2 copies. I'll shoot you a copy, man. Dude, that's a movie. You got to watch that one, man. You gotta. It
sounds like a movie that Slash McSplitter. Sounds like a movie that he had me watch.
Well, you know what? You got to understand. It's like it's 60s. It's campy. She's ass naked, that kind of shit. So it's popping.
Yeah, you have to kind of take it in the context of like Valley of the Dolls, that kind of stuff.
It's an old school 60s flick. Yeah, man.
That's See, I never. I didn't even haven't even heard of it. To be 1,000.
What? I mean, that was how she got.
Bro, I was born in 87. I'm an old fart, but I mean, I ain't that old. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, the movie came out when I was born, so that shows you how old I am.
I mean,
wow.
It was signed in the Times print, so it wasn't even Purple Rain prints when I was born. It was a while ago.
But man, I tell you, man,
that was my brother's when he was born.
Ooh, man, but when hey. Yeah, it's nice, man. It's a good movie, man. Like when you watch it, it's like it's it has its little cornball moments, but for the
It's
most
cool.
part, you definitely would want to fire up and drink on something and keep firing up and keep drinking and keep watching. Yeah,
That's
and
cool.
it just like had little corny moments, but same time you watching some things jiggle, some things move. But, it gets a little spicy here and there. There's some some playing some hide and go get it, and there's some things happening in that movie, man. So yeah, man.
I mean,
Barbarella,
Kinda
everybody.
like,
I
okay.
already watched it with Jane Fonda. Please do.
Mhm.
I recommend it. Yeah.
I mean, if you've ever seen, and I don't know if you have or not, but if you've ever seen any Russ Meyer movie from that era, late '60s to '70s, it runs along the same lines. It's tasteful yet risque. It's not
Right.
too over the top. It's not a porn movie in any way, but I mean,
No.
it's
It pushes the
along
envelope
the
as
same
much
lines.
as possible.
Right, without going over it.
Right.
Mhm.
And it's so basically the sets, I would have to say when you're watching it, the sets would be like the sets of the original Star Trek.
Hmm.
Like, like the sets were, more or less like that, it's like the way they used to do old sets of old sci-fi. It's like it's not
Mm-hmm.
it's not a whole lot, man. It's just doors opening and closing, elevators here and there. She going down, shoots, uh, slides and slopes and shit, and losing clothes and smashing dudes, and in the good way, and things are happening, man. It's a
The-
smash fest.
The best drinking game would be pay attention to the sets and see if you can see items that you recognize that aren't what they are in the scene, like they've repurposed them for the scene. So like random stuff from a kitchen in the '60s, you'll see it in the background, but instead of that being a kitchen thing, it's now a gun or something, like just shit like that.
Hmm. Yeah, since you did, I ain't gonna lie, he's kind of correct. You're not. I'm not gonna watch this movie. This is cool though. I let him talk. Like if they make, if I'm thinking, I hate to be a drab, but I'm becoming a Zoomer overnight or a Zoom millennial because these damn shorts and TikTok. And did they just catch touchdown? It might just been a touchdown, or maybe they say they didn't catch it. Oh, he said he dropped it. But like, yeah, I'm almost like if maybe if I see some shorts on it, I'll check it out. If
Okay, yeah. It's, check out the trailer for it. They got a trailer for it.
He should have caught that. Unless this. I'm watching the damn game. Is it? Here we go with this. This is why I don't watch football. Is these stupid ass catches? Is it a catch? Is it not a catch? No, this other dumb shit. I think he caught it. Yeah, now they're reviewing it. I hate this. This is why I don't watch this shit. I don't watch it every year because of this dumb shit. It's not even an entertaining sport to me because of this shit. I don't care if it's real or it's fake. I'm sick of all these different angles. The play happened. I'm just tired of it. I don't want to watch this shit anymore because of this. I'm about to turn this shit off. Now I'm mad at everything. Football relative.
But yeah, the thing I was going to add, the side thing to this was, did you see the shit out there about how Terry Gilliam went to the set of the reboot of Time Bandits? He was supposed to be there like a week. Mm-hmm. Got mad.
No.
So
I think he's supposed to be in there for 2 weeks.
Yeah, and he dipped out in 3 days.
Yep.
Because Taika Waititi is like, from all reports, everything that he was doing was just pissing Terry Gilliam completely off.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was just like, I have nothing to say, and walked off.
Oh man.
Which is another one they didn't need to redo.
No. It's a classic. The way it is. Just leave it be. Don't touch it.
I don't know. But anyway, I figured I'd add that.
So, Old Hanoi Jane was saying here, I had an idea how to do that, original producer Dino De Laurentiis, when he was still alive and wouldn't listen to. Fonda explained during the THR interview. Of course not. He probably couldn't stand you. The actress who underwent brutal chemotherapy. Now, this is where we get the sympathy play here, folks.
Right.
The actress who
chemotherapy.
underwent brutal chemotherapy, and isn't that kind of an oxymoron because it's about the same? In the wake of her non-Hodgkin's lymphoma diagnosis last year, would go on to confess that Barbarella could have been a truly feminist movie. Fonda starred in a 1968 adaptation of the French comic book series by Jean-Claude Forest from director Roger Vadim, whom Fonda was married to at the time, and ultimately ended in divorce. And there's the old Barbarella, and there's the new Barbarella.
Man, what you think, Vidge?
He's cussing at the TV.
Yeah. Yeah, what's up?
So what you think about James Fonda? Huh?
I mean, what what did fucking Dave Chappelle say when he was playing Rick James? The milk was gone bad. I would just say that just for comedic effect. The milk's gone bad. No, I don't know. I don't know. So I mean, the remake's gonna suck. That's I mean, I think that's like kind of the whole point. The remake's gonna suck. It's probably gonna be weird. It's
I'll
probably
say
gonna
this.
be like that.
In the casting, like I said earlier, they could have done worse in the casting. I think
she was nice, man. No,
I mean in the new one, not the original. They could have made it, completely different and made it like some trans actress.
Oh,
just because, at least they didn't do that.
Right.
I have no hopes for the movie other than it'll exist.
Yeah.
Say, Dildo has a question. He's wondering who's directing this new remake.
Well, let's find out here. Not much is known about this new version, but Vadim's take on the story follows an astronaut. Talking about 41st century, they had to stop evil scientist Duran. Like his name.
But
that was easily almost a good decade and a half or so before the group even came out.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It's weird, huh?
Is this where they got it from? Because it's spelled.
I think so.
I think so, man.
Okay.
Like to be honest, because.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, in the movie, when they say his name, if you say it quickly enough, you don't hear the D at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So, it could have been an original misinterpretation of the actual character's name.
Yeah, it could have been. It makes sense. Especially, remember, there's no internet back then. It's not like Wikipedia.
Right. So, what's the guy's name?
And I'm not seeing anything. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's her?
Yeah, that's her.
Holy shit.
Jesus Christ.
Okay,
that's her in that
euphoric. Mm-hmm. Right?
I am watching.
Let those puppies loose. That's all I got to say. But I don't see anything about director or anything.
It's probably not going to come out then, is it?
Well, I'll tell you what. Can you look it up real quick?
Yeah, I got it.
You got it? Okay, I'll let him go to work.
Wow.
Because I want to see those sweater cows a little bit here.
Yeah. Yeah, and I want to see those sweater pals too.
Mm-hmm.
It says no, because this project is categorized as in development. The data only available on IMDb Pro, which fuck you, I'm not paying for Pro.
Right, no. Feck them.
Let me see if I can find anywhere else. Let's see here. Yeah, it doesn't. I'm not getting anything specific.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't think there is anybody really assigned to it. It's kind of like getting the cart before the horse type of thing.
Right, they just tied her to a possible remake, and because I don't
Mhm.
even have a cast list, so she's maybe the only one who's even been named.
Right. She's only person that's been linked to the project.
Yeah, it'll come out February 31st.
Never.
February 31st, 2029.
29.
Yeah, and every article I'm coming across is just
That's
very
funny,
vague.
man.
I mean, it's not happening. This is, I mean, I shouldn't say that because so many movies that I thought wouldn't happen did. Because I remember Mortal Kombat. I mean, that shit actually did drop. It wasn't as good as I thought it was, but I mean, that shit was supposed to drop like 2009? The reboot
Yeah.
of Mortal Kombat. It took them a decade, but it dropped. So who knows?
Whoa.
Maybe in a decade, a new actress, it'll finally drop. But this version is nowhere.
Yeah,
well,
currently.
hold on. Well, how old is Mortal Kombat Legacy? Because I got this with Michael J. White. Because I have that right here in my hand on Blu-ray.
That might came out around. I said 2009. When did they come out? I don't remember that. Like, I remember it, but I don't remember. You know what I mean? I remember it being announced stuff, but I just remember they were talking about a full length reboot or redo of Mortal Kombat for a while. I threw it
2011.
2011, so that came out 2011.
Yeah.
But I know they had talked about it for a while. It took a while for it to get on screen. Didn't get on screen as it was talked about, but we got what we got. Because they tried to get too greedy.
This is actually a show. Because I'm looking at the back of it. It's going by episodes. Episode 1,
okay,
Sonya and Kano, part 1. Then episode 2, Jax, Sonya and Kano, part 2. Then episode 3 is Johnny Cage. Episode 4 and 5 is Katana.
How many seasons? Just the
Alina.
one?
Episode 6 is Raiden.
Who's Michael J. White?
It looks like he looks like he's Jax. Yeah. So, so he's in the first 2 episodes. Then episode 7 and 8 is Scorpion and Sub-Zero, and then episode 9, which is the last episode, is with Cyrax and.
Nah, I check that out probably for Barbarella. That's just kind of cool. I need to look that up.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat Legacy, the 9 episodes, and I got it on Blu-ray.
I didn't even know that shit existed.
Yeah, I hit a pawn shop.
Like I said,
about a month ago, and seen it for $1. And
word, so you be saying go around to these places. I keep telling myself I'm going to.
My
car kind of fucked up.
Whenever you're ready, bro.
I get my car fixed. My problem is I keep riding around to just the same places in the area, but I know I need to get shit fixed and get shit done. I'm just be a dumbass. But yeah, I want to check that shit out. That shit sound cold. That shit sound cold. Did y'all talk about Biker Mice from Mars already?
No, not yet.
Nope, I got it on cue here, so let me get into the what.
And sorry for the commercial playing in the background. Fuck these commercials, man. I watch commercials all years, and then you see them. They're so dumb. Can't believe people watching this shit every day.
I don't know.
Can you imagine watching regular TV in 2023 every day? Shit drive me crazy seeing these dumbass commercials.
They are.
I guess this is what millions of people do, right? They're talking about Cocaine Bear now. The only thing I do want to see.
Cocaine Bear.
Yeah.
But a bear?
But I mean, the thing is, the bear didn't do all this damage. This is all made up.
Well,
yeah, they're
some of it is
expanding on the story.
Yeah,
right. The bear did do some shit and did
some
people,
damage.
Yeah. Then died of a heart attack.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the thing.
Fell over.
I mean that much blow, take down an elephant.
I mean, yeah, take down anybody, anything.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Boy, did it have a trip before it went.
Well, I mean, he was on fire, man.
Oh yeah. That's why that
Oh, shit,
movie
this
looks
claim
pristine.
is so dumb shit. I need to just. I'm gonna just mute in between because I got two different things. So my bad. I'm like, I don't want to get you claimed because these stupid ass commercials.
I can barely hear it. To be honest
Okay,
with
good.
you. I mean, honestly.
But I still, if YouTube, they got the algo bots and all that other good shit.
That's true.
So, no, yeah.
Oh, legal, huh?
See, y'all can hear it that well.
You're right.
I heard that part. I heard something about,
So I'm at least go to this little half mute.
half mute, half mute, half mute, half mute.
Yeah, man. I had these toys. I like this show. It's a show I haven't checked out in a while, so I don't know if it still holds up.
Yeah, man. I seen
Yeah, we
this
got
and
that.
was like, "Yo, what's this?" I was like, "Yeah, let's see what they're talking about."
You
Now,
got
I
it.
gotta-
What? I'm sorry. Go on.
Before we get into this, and we'll
Sure.
get into it, we'll gauge what direction this is going. This might also come out on February 31st, 2029 or 2039. Who knows? Because with anything, we'll see how far it is. But here's something that I realized: like, if this is genuinely good, I don't know if it'll get as much publicity, and especially not in this damn space, as if it's woke. Like, because you remember that damn Transformers series that we talked about kind of toward the beginning of doing
Oh, on
Primetime
Netflix.
Kings? On
Yeah.
Netflix. That was a dope ass series, but you never really heard nothing about it.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if this is, let's say Biker Mice from Mars want to be real cool, or another thing I do kind of watch, I got it on Blu-ray, SWAT Cats, where you came back with some shit like that and you was true to it and still was cool, and you put it out on Netflix, had a little toy series. The hardcores will fuck with. See, since Dildo never even heard this franchise, it may not have traveled over there. But the hardcores who fuck with it, like, oh yeah, I remember Biker Mice from Mars. I'll check this out. I'll grab a couple of toys, but it's not going to do as much. And this is partially why, man, publicity is such a hard thing to come by. That people will go, like, as much as it sometimes doesn't work. Sometimes these are franchises that won't work either way, and that's why they go the route of let me do something shocking to get publicity, and let me make one of them trans so I can get some publicity. Because like there's no one who really cares or remembers a Biker Mice from Mars. So
Well,
I don't know what direction this is going to go. I hope it's true to the original source, but I also hope it actually has some success because it's hard. It's hard out here for a pimp,
Yeah,
so to speak.
I think part of the reason why stuff like this doesn't necessarily get the traction within, say, like the fandom community is because a fair portion of the fandom community were already adults by this point.
True.
Right? They're older, so a lot of the 90s cartoons tend to not sit with them just because they were too old by then. You
That's
get
true.
some people who are into it, but not as much. It's you have to kind of
More
lean
the
towards
80s, yeah.
Well, yeah.
80s and back.
whatever it is. Yeah,
I mean, I was still watching cartoons in that time era, but that was just one of them I never watched. I mean, I'll be.
No, I think there's some truth to that. I think more 70s and 80s is what the main focus is.
Mhm.
right.
Because you know what I mean, Star Wars and a lot of 80s films and 80s
Right.
properties.
Lord of the Rings,
Lord of
and stuff like
Rings.
that, which
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
read the books before they
Yeah,
watched, the movies that came out because the
Mhm.
books, were around and even suggested reading in some schools.
Mhm. Before getting banned. But yeah, I mean,
Well,
in the 90s had some great ones. You had the Batman animated series, the Superman,
Right.
the X-Men, Earthworm Jim, I mean, the Tick.
I
mean-
mean, and the Tick. Yeah, yeah, you're right. A lot of that stuff doesn't really get played. Because I'm like, yeah, I love that. Batman animated series.
Mhm.
I've watched that more than anything on Earth. ever.
Right.
And it's not even close. And that's why I realized when Kevin Conroy, rest in peace, when he passed a few months ago, I'm like, oh man, yeah, he's the most. I've seen more of his content than any other person ever, and it's not even close.
Right.
Or his content more than anyone ever. You know what I'm saying? Because I watched so much other stuff he's did.
Yeah.
With all those different cartoons, not just Batman, but Justice League, and even some cameos on Superman and
Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond, of course, and then they had the Zeta Project and a few other things. Static Shock that he might cameo on. 90 Kids ain't. Oh yeah, I mean we're in our 30s and 40s, so we're getting there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. Yeah.
You're getting to the point where you never trust a fart.
Nah, come on.
Oh,
Man.
wow.
Oh wow.
Jesus, man. But yeah, I think there's something to that. Maybe the fandom is geared a little older.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
it's not necessarily to throw shade at them. It's just that's the demographic. I mean, there are some people within the fandom who are younger. If you look at like, what's his name, Jace Fox. He's actually, I think he's younger than Zoomer. He's definitely current gen, but he's aware of that stuff because he went and searched it out. So I mean, you have to kind of key up on the younger portions of the fandom to see if they're talking about it, and if they're not, suggest it to them. Like, hey, because I don't see Gary talking about this. I don't see Az talking about this.
Nah, me neither. But this is, in general, that's why, again, not just them. I don't think these track even outside of the fandom. I don't think franchises like this, they kind of just were there for a small period. I mean, because
I was going to say, how many seasons did that run?
Not that many. And you also got to remember, one of the gifts and curses of that era is what you're running alongside of.
Right.
Captain Planet, which probably ran the same amount of seasons, and it is a different show altogether, but I just think of a similar style. You probably ran aside of that. You probably ran aside of like Captain Planet, Batman animated series, and Gargoyles, and so you get forgotten. You know what I mean? Because you got to compete with all these other franchises.
You're buried under the pile, so to speak.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of these cartoons, if you look at it, these were cartoons that were being shown on Sunday morning. So, I mean, so you look at the lineup of a Sunday. See, the big, huge difference between Sunday and Saturday morning, or weekday in the mornings. Before school, and definitely after school. Sunday is a whole different beast compared to the whole. If you were a kid, you remember how cartoons ran. Sunday was completely different than anything before school, after school, during the week, and on Saturdays. Sunday was a whole different. Dude, I'm talking about from 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. You got, depending on where you were at, you seen like you like the new Zoo review. You were watching Davey and Goliath. You had Gumby. You had all that. Then you had all your Sunday morning cartoons. So you basically you caught Heathcliff instead of Garfield. You caught a lot of your Dick cartoons. Your Inspector Gadget. All your other. It's like basically your beeline of actual cartoons is what you gotten on Sundays, and like Biker Mike from Mars, let's say Black Brave Star. You had a whole bunch of like your Flash Gordon and the Defenders. What was him and all those the
Defenders of the Galaxy.
Yeah, all that shit. You him, the Phantom, the Magician. I forgot what was his name.
Yeah, Mandrake the Magician.
Yeah, Mandrake the Magician. So you had all these cartoons on Sunday, and Biker Mike from Mars fell in line with a whole lot of them. And
Some of those Marvel
really didn't even
cartoons,
get
if you remember, was Sundays too
Yeah.
on certain channels, like the Iron Man and shit like that. That they really it didn't track as well as like Spider-Man and X-Men would play on Saturdays or sometimes
Right.
throughout the week after syndication after they had enough episodes. But like Iron Man and what was the other ones they had? They had a few of them, like Fantastic Four that only went like a couple seasons. A lot of times they played them on Sundays.
Yeah,
On,
and that
Fox
also
Kids.
goes to show, like characters like Iron Man were always second tier characters. They weren't primary characters when they were in the comics.
No, not until of course the MCU. But yeah, you brought up a good point about there were different cartoon blocks that all had
Yeah.
different goals. You had, like you said, the after school block. You had
Right.
the
Mhm.
Saturday block.
Right.
You also had the morning during the week block,
Right.
and then you had the Sunday block. And so they all were
Right.
like Saturday was kind of like the prime time for cartoons,
Mhm.
and then the after school blocks were usually syndication.
Yep.
But a
Right.
lot of times they were the older and kind of sometimes the classic cartoons, and then after a lot of new shows got to syndication part where they had enough seasons, then they will kind of replace it.
Well, I mean,
Especially,
G.I.
yeah,
Joe
G.I.
and
Joe.
Transformers were
Mhm.
made for syndication.
Yep. And then you had to also had the made for syndication stuff. So yeah, but I mean, it was a lot of stuff back then. It's crazy how much more, and for lack of a term that I can think of right now, fertile that we were for franchises back then.
Yeah.
In the 80s, 90s, even to the 2000s, where there were just so many that they couldn't even
Yeah.
all compete with each other.
Well, and nowadays everything's internet based, so it doesn't matter when you want to watch it, you could watch it.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
the Saturdays being like your prime time, long standing, well running shows, and you had your Looney Tunes on as well, and
Right.
and a lot of the Hanna-Barbera stuff.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then you had like your Woody Woodpeckers. Like you had that whole different Woody Woodpecker, Casper the Friendly Ghost. You had a whole slew of the other side of your regular kid cartoons, like that
Right.
rivaled Bugs Bunny and everything else. So
Casper, the Friendly Ghost.
right, and we're talking about for like regular
Sharks
public
hate
television. Like just regular TV viewing. We're not talking Mickey Mouse. You have to go somewhere else to watch Mickey. But you turn regular TV, that's what we had.
Yeah. There's a lot more options than now. That's what I mean. I don't see regular TV. How's regular TV even going to exist? Yes, SWATcast. I bought up SWATcast earlier,
Yup,
Nick.
What's up, Nick Weiser?
Some of those 90s cartoons. That's what we're talking about. I was talking about, unfortunately, for Biker Mike from Mars. We haven't even gotten to the article yet, but I just know
All right,
They would
right.
do better to have some
Exactly.
wokeness because it would give them more publicity, unfortunately, because they got it. It's like they're back in the same competition they were in the 90s. It's like no one really. I remember this franchise. I hope this is successful. I hope it's true to life, and I hope it makes a lot of money. That's what I really hope it is as we get into this. But without knowing where they're going to go, unfortunately, it's so hard to get traction for these franchises. I don't know what they're going to do as far as marketing. Yeah, nobody watches regular TV since dildo. I don't see how this is going to last in 10 years. We're just going to be 100% internet based. That's why they're so big on censoring this, because this is the new mainstream. They're trying to make way for the mainstream platforms to be fully YouTube, fully Twitch, and fully everything else. Because there's nowhere else to go. This is
I mean, to be funny, man. After watching everything that's out now, like everything that's available, could you even see yourself going back to even watching regular fucking TV?
No. The only time people watch it is sports. That's it.
Or maybe news.
And sports and news. Yep, sports news and the news shows.
Well,
So
a lot
I
of
think people watch.
becoming internet on a lot of that too. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and I had mentioned in another chat at some point, they
Maybe
were
reality
talking about,
TV. Maybe that too.
well, yeah.
That's-
But they were talking about, modern movies, and most people are like, I don't go to the theater, I don't watch, don't care. And I'm like, I haven't paid for a movie. I've probably seen every single new movie that was worth seeing, and I haven't paid for one of them. And most people are like, how are you doing that? Like, really? Do you not know how to use the internet?
Man, I don't
It's
even have an
amazing how many
interest to
people-
do it though myself. Like there's movies
Well, I
that I
mean,
can
and
see
I can
myself.
Right, and I can understand that, you don't want to, a want or a need is different than I don't know how. Like a
Yeah,
lot of people are like, how are you doing that? Like, how could you not know how to do it? Like I've been known how to do this for God,
right.
the
Test
past 20
15
years.
years, at least
Right.
20 years.
And if
15
New
at
Bomb
least.
Turk can do it, you can do it.
But that's a
Ah.
good counterpoint that there are still a huge population at such a dildos over my face. That there's a huge population of people who don't know how to use everything and therefore still rely on the
Right,
traditional.
they're not tech savvy enough.
Yeah.
Like they
Yep.
can get around and do stuff, but they don't know how to get into the cracks and crevices to get the things you would want without
Yeah.
paying for a streaming service or doing whatever.
Extra pause, such a dildo. Yeah, but you're right. There's that generation. So that's the only thing that's keeping traditional TV alive and traditional cable alive. So what we got, 20 or 30 years of them? And good for them. I want them to live a good, long, healthy life. But I can't imagine. But they're going to be the only market. That's not going to be enough to keep TV alive. You can't just lose all the kids, period. You know what I mean? They have.
Right.
You used to have 20, 30 million kids. We just talked about all these cartoons. They used to be marketed towards a generation of kids. You had all these different blocks of TV or regular TV slotted just for kids to watch because there were so many kids watching TV. And you sold them toys, you sold them McDonald's, you sold them all this stuff marketing wise. And there was a lot of money getting made. Now none of that money is getting made. It's getting made all off YouTube channels with with whatever the hell else.
I mean,
but no, they get all these YouTube channels. That's where all the money. That's where all
and actually, people subscribing OnlyFans. It's all subscriptions to YouTubers. It's like, dude, there's so much shit that, to be honest, if you look at how
anime.
the American youth used to spend their money, their shit is shifted.
It's shifted and it's scattered. It's scattered a bunch. What's the average 13-year-old doing? Is he watching anime? Is he playing video games? Is he
Probably
on
both.
TikTok?
On TikTok,
Well, he's
on the
doing
phone.
all of them. Or is he on Instagram? Or is he
on the internet?
Like I said,
somewhere.
is he doing something else? He's doing all of these things and he's doing them all kind of at once and kind of not. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how do you get him to sit down and watch TV? Maybe he has Netflix on the background while he's looking at TikTok on his phone and playing a video game and watching Twitch. You know what I'm saying? Doing all of it all at once now. That's what he's doing.
Yeah. And you're also kind of touching on another reason. Kids aren't the same as we were when we were young.
Yeah.
We were far more innocent even later on than like you talk to an 8 to 10-year-old now and you're amazed at the shit that they know that you didn't know at 8 or 10. Right, exactly.
Right.
You were like, how do you know that? How do you know how to do that? Oh, it's easy. It's blah, 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 blah. The whole anime thing, like Dildo said, they're watching anime. It's because it is available and they know where to go to get it.
Well, one of the things that destroyed a lot of the cartoons too was when they went out there and said you can't have commercials aimed for kids, which destroyed all that children's programming, which was a huge crime.
Some of it was predatory. I mean, to say the least, like constantly berating kids with buy these products because it's your favorite TV show or whatever was getting a bit brutal. I mean, and as humans do, if they can see an advantage in something, they're going to take it.
As someone who still is buying those products, I take offense to that.
Well, you know where I'm coming from. Like,
you're not wrong. Like I said, I mean, this room was filled with action figures, and I'm like, I'm sure some of that's probably still the residuals of that past predatory advertising, right?
I didn't need any advertising for it, to be honest. It was Star Wars. I wanted it. That's all I needed.
Yeah,
right. But you weren't starving for those ads at that time, because I can remember constantly seeing, especially around Christmas time. Jesus, like every other commercial was action figures.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
the ships. You know, the GI Joe stuff. How many people had the full carrier?
I don't
Oh
know.
man, that fucking
that
that
thing
thing
was
was
The
nuts.
USS flag.
was huge.
Yeah,
The USS
that
flag,
was-
that thing.
That thing was ridiculous. It was massive. It was expensive, and I
Mhm.
guarantee you, they sold bunches of those.
You know, that was like the equivalent of like trying to buy the fucking Millennium Falcon back then.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I bet you it's worth more now than whatever you pay for it if you have
Oh,
one.
man.
The
Yeah.
flag. Oh, the
Oh,
flag is-
yeah.
I bet you the value's crazy right now.
Oh yeah,
Um,
you know it.
Let's see here.
Well, new bombs all
Toy
over.
market, yeah. Hey, check it out. Because I mean, I'm a toy casual, but the toy market can be nuts.
Oh
no
yeah.
kids don't buy action figures still. It's just old fogies like me who buy action figures.
Well, yeah,
They're not
because that's
marketing
what they're
towards kids.
aiming it for is old fogies like us. They don't
Some
even,
kids grow into it. Sometimes you have kids who are like the current kids who are, let's say they were
Oh my God.
it was
Ah!
told you without even knowing. What's it worth? And then I'll go into my spiel.
Okay, so I've got two of them here
Mm-hmm.
that are complete, assembled, and actually they look both in really good shape. One of them has the F-14 Tomcat as well. $1,500 for
Told you.
one,
Mhm.
$2,500 for the other,
Mm.
and the shipping on the $1,500 one is another $650.
Ooh.
I knew it.
And then there's one in the box unassembled for $3,400.
Told you.
Híjole.
So I told you. But
Mhm.
some kids may grow into the action figures and the statues and the hot toy, like as they like the kids that were 15 in 2010, let's say. Well, now
Right.
they're 27, 28, so they're starting to get up in their career a little bit. Like, oh, I'll grab a action figure now, but they didn't get it when they were 15 or younger. You know what I mean? They didn't because this toy thing is, you know, the iPads were already out by then, so they got an iPad, so they didn't get
Right.
into toys then. But now that they're older, have a little bit more money, they start to get into it as a collectible sort of
They're
thing.
all
So
into
that,
microtransactions.
that happens. But you're right, kids are buying anime waifu pillows. They're buying all sorts of stuff, but they're not buying action figures. No.
Yeah, see, and from my end, because you know, as I grew up, I was a car guy because my uncle was a car guy, my dad was a car guy, so most of my toy focus was in Hot Wheels and Matchbox
Okay.
and stuff like that. And I got to the point where, you know, post Navy, working jobs and making money, and I'm like, well, I want to collect something. Like I had that itch, and it was, oh, okay, 1/18th scale metal pre-assembled cars, but they're, you know, detailed. And I had come across a set, and I couldn't even remember the name of the company. It may have been Exodo or something like that. And it was a pair of Ferrari Formula One cars, two different eras. One of them was Niki Lauda's 75 Ferrari. The other was Gilles Villeneuve from 1980. They were out of production, right? So you couldn't get them from the main company anymore. And that pair of Ferraris, and again, only 1/18 scale, so you know, a foot to a foot and a half long, give or take. And the pair of them, because they were out of production, was like $6,000.
Ooh.
And I was like, I mean, it'd be cool, but, and I like to collect stuff, but not that much. I could buy a real car for that.
Right?
Damn.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
ridiculous. And now, because they've never put them back into production, they've just gone up. I've seen pairs in their original boxes for close to 10 grand.
Yeah, the
It's
collectible market it's like that across the board, no matter what you're collecting.
Right.
It
The bigger it
pisses
is,
me
the more
off.
expensive it is. Yeah.
It's like the stock Xification, because there's always some schmo who's just willing to raise the price, just artificial. Oh, I'll just give you just $20,000 for that? Like, no, stop fucking up the whole market, you simp.
Well, yeah, and that's the downfalls of eBay and whatnot.
Yeah.
User avid collectors of debt. Well, that's usually due to the student loan system deal, though. So that can't be blamed.
They either contributing to their parents' debt or their own later.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But yeah, collecting has always been that way. I mean, there was a guy I worked with at Radio Shack that he knew right away when Star Wars hit and all the toys came out. He was like, this is going to mean something at some point. So he made sure every birthday, Christmas, whatever, for he had 2 kids, he bought each one of them a pair of each item. So each one got 2 Lukes, 2 Han Solos, and it was always here's the one you play with, this one's getting put away. Here's the one you play with, this one's getting put away.
Smooth.
Right? And he took the UPCs from the first series run, and he had so many of them. Because he had every single product. He ended up with a stack of original Boba Fett's in their package, and he still has them. He gave one to each of them so they could play with, and still had a stack of Boba Fett's after that, because that was the only way you could get Boba Fett was to send the UPCs in and get the first run Boba Fett, and then after that they put the second gen Boba Fett out in the stores, but that one wasn't the first gen. And if you look at the prices on eBay, first gen Boba Fett's in packages are fucking through the roof.
Crazy.
I mean, I got one that I got that way, but it's not in the packaging. It was
right, and even then, even if it's not in the package,
if even loose, it's probably still worth something.
Yeah, if it's in good shape and not beat up, it's still worth a pretty penny.
Yeah. And then they reissue it, and then collectors the reissues sometimes go crazy because they release because of StockXification, only gonna release like 10 of them or 100 of them or whatever. And see, it's just old people buying these action figures. That's what they're for, and we're giving them the money. We're giving them the goddamn money. That's the thing.
Well, I will say this: there were guys for a while that like you'd find eBay listings for whatever character for Star Wars, and say they were missing their blaster pistol or what have you. They were 3D printing the blaster pistols.
Yep.
And then they put it back up on eBay, but they were being honest about it. Like, look, this is original action figure, but the blaster pistol is a 3D print to replace the original, which was lost. And the arguments online were ridiculous. Like, how dare you 3D print those guns and replace them and blah, 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 blah. Because all the guys who still had their stuff with all the accessories were pissed. And it's like, dude, you got an original. Like, be happy.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
I have no problem.
On somebody else's parade. Oh, it was a huge deal. Like, to the point of like almost tearing apart websites because people had a difference of opinion. Like, it was just ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. It is.
It is.
I mean, I'd want to. I'd want to, have, if I was missing blasters or whatever, I'd want to.
Yeah.
And you can buy them. I mean, you can go out there and still buy them. So, I mean,
right.
They're out there.
And it's not like they were shitty quality. They were really good quality 3D prints. Probably better than the originals.
Uh-oh. What's up, George?
It's all your fault, George. It's all your fault.
Yeah, everything is his fault.
Right.
Good to have you here. What's up, Nick Weiser, Zax?
George has been following me.
George is pretty cool, man.
I know. Buy Star Wars back, George, please.
You don't want him back on that. He likes it.
You know what? It's funny that he gets so much blame for that when he got so much hate for so long. I mean, regardless how you feel about him, I mean, he was getting shitted on. So, like, we kind of, that was kind of karmic for the fans in a way. You know, we fucked with George. We want to have revisionist history like it was all rosy. It wasn't all rosy.
No.
No, people did not like the prequels originally.
People shot on the prequels. I didn't like the prequels that much, and he was like, "All right, you know what? You don't like
I'm
them?
done.
You think I'm shitty? I'm so bad? Oh, okay. Let this bitch do it.
Yeah. Hold my beer.
See how much you like those. And now everyone's the prequels, the Clone Wars, Ahsoka. It's like, what the fuck? Y'all didn't give a fuck back then. He's like Mike Jones back then. Y'all didn't want me. Now it's how y'all on me.
Yeah. Mike Jones from H-Town too. Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, it's
Shout out
funny.
to
I
George Lucas.
did. You know, for the record, I enjoyed the prequels, man. I did. I thought Darth Maul was cool. I thought
Maul
they
was
did him
cool as
dirty.
shit.
No,
Yeah,
I'm saying like I thought they did him dirty. Like when I first seen him, like he came in, he was real silent dude. I thought he was solid until how they just fucking did him like he was nothing at the end. I was like, that's kind of
Too
whack.
quick. He should have been in all three of those movies.
Right,
instead of just
exactly.
one.
That's exactly what I thought that he should have found a way to fought both of them. Maybe got wounded, survived. It's just to fight him again for the next two movies. You know, some shit.
Yeah.
You know, he let him get away or something. I didn't think they was gonna fucking slice him in half and throw him down to shoot. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
I was like,
the-
damn,
the-
already. And it was first time we seen the double blade. You know, plus he was more on that acrobatic, like that sword, like that old school swordsman type shit. Like he was the dude
The
that played
best sword
he
fight
was
in the whole
badass.
series is
Yeah.
that fight with them. It's the best sword fight in the whole series. It's one of the best action parts in the whole fucking series. With the music and the different, they keep cutting through different scenes.
Right.
It was the smooth. As much as people talk about that ironically named Phantom Menace, that ending sequence was very smooth, especially with that fight. And yeah, like he said, they introduced him so smooth that he was so cool in the fight, and then they just killed him. It was like, wow,
Yeah, man.
he's
I know.
gone forever.
I mean,
That was
the EU took care of that by bringing him back, but it was an awkward scenario because he had like these spider legs and shit.
Yeah,
It was
that's
just
not
fucking
the
weird.
point. That just I know I knew that they had brought him back, but it was just like, okay, that you're admitting we fucked up, and
Right.
there's no way to go around how you fucked up.
He had good ideas and played them out poorly.
Right. Well, I mean, George, yeah, I mean, all he had to do was do a couple little things and keep to the some of his original ideas for Phantom Menace, and it wouldn't have been just as bad as it was.
George didn't understand his weaknesses and didn't accept that he had weaknesses and get people to fill in for him.
No.
That was his biggest flaw. He was an
Which is
ideas guy.
crazy.
He wasn't a director. He wasn't a writer. He was an ideas guy,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and he needed people to channel
Well,
that vision to
And
to
it's
me.
funny too, because for some reason he realized that in 4, 5, and 6 and had a different director in 5 and 6,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and yet he somehow forgot that when he did
Yeah.
the prequels. Like, dude, bro, midichlorians, really?
Yeah. Well, he didn't have anybody. Everybody was butt kissing him. And the other
Yeah, who
one,
did-
he had Gary Kurtz and his ex-wife sitting back saying, "Wait a moment, George. You know,
Yeah.
He
So
didn't.
bad.
Yeah, he needed people that he would listen to. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Around.
Right.
And more
people
importantly,
were
that
just
we're-
afraid to say anything.
yeah, and that's just it. Where they would sit back and say, "Excuse me, Emperor, but you're not wearing any clothes."
Mhm.
You know. So
And so you need, and I mean, you just need those people to exist. I don't know how else. I mean, even with him and Spielberg, they got together and made that last Indiana Jones. So I mean, even when he's like, okay, I'm not the director, there's someone else being the director, and he's certified, and they can still make certified trash. So it's like,
mhm.
I think it's just in both cases, you just need somebody to really edit. Ironically enough, that's maybe you shouldn't have got rid of your ex-wife so fast, man. I used to joke, Kobe, rest in peace, like, oh, you wouldn't want me shooting in the gym. Well, she was, motherfucker, because these movies need editing, god damn it. Especially all of these movies. The problem with the prequels is they literally spend 2 movies doing nothing and then 1 movie doing everything. And it's just like it was if you take all the ideas the prequels have, you have something really cool, but you have to be able to get them to production in a much better way. Like he was in the prequels did not do as good of a job of getting the spirit of what he wanted in his mind to the screen. That's what the issue was.
Plus, he was contradicting his own lore. I mean, in the first film,
he rewrote the whole concept of Jedi down to it's a chemical thing,
right? Not only that, it's like Obi-Wan says Yoda was my master, which would have been and his first treaty for the Phantom Menace. It would have been Anakin Skywalker by himself. He would have discovered Obi-Wan by himself, discovering Anakin, going back to Coruscant, and that's when they meet up with Qui-Gon Jinn, who is a peer, not his master. But of course, he decides to change it. I mean, it was a great disservice to the character of Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
and they could have still had Qui-Gon being a master, just not his master.
Yeah, and that's exactly
Qui-Gon a different, apprentice, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, why couldn't he have just been a peer? That's a good point. Maybe an older peer where he still has some. You know what I mean? I can understand that. But not necessarily the master relationship. You're right. It should have stuck where Yoda was still his master, and maybe and then they were just peers or whatever agents, partners, buddy cops. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he could have been like an older homeboy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And a couple years older.
Mm-hmm.
Been
and that's
around.
What it's gonna be.
Yeah, he's been fucking Jedi mastering it for a little bit. He's big homie.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He didn't have to be, and just could have left the whole master thing to Yoda.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And he's still no, Yoda is still his master. That's just like you said, his big homie, and that's his peer. And they could have still had, some of those they still have that fight and it still means something. Like, man, this is like my, losing a brother.
And actually they could have done all those things. And then if you think about it at the very end, if I'm not mistaken, it's the 3rd movie. That's when Yoda popped up, and then we saw Yoda whoop ass for the first time, and we was like, oh shit, when he went up against the fucking Emperor, man.
Well, actually, it was Dooku. He went up against Dooku in the second
movie, right?
First, yeah.
No, but as far as like you watching the 2 head guys finally fight at the end.
Oh yeah.
So it's like you could have still had the same build up. And everything else happened exactly the exact same way. All you had to do was just change the relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. Man. That's the thing. The 3rd one, that's why so many people do like the 3rd one. Some people will say it's better than even I've heard people say is the 3rd one Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've heard people say Revenge of the Sith is better than Return of the Jedi. I don't agree with these people, but I have seen that way more than I would have ever thought to have seen that when I saw that movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, that had been the most accepted and embraced of the prequel.
In the 3.
Even before the sale. So.
Yeah. Because it is the best. It is the best out of 3, and it gets the most done. It keeps it. I mean, the canon is a mess, the whole prequels, but it feels the most like one. It keeps the spirit of the original 3 the most to me, even if it's not executed perfectly. It does enough. Like you do get, like you said, you get so many payoffs. So it's like it does work. It's like Endgame. Like regardless of what you think of it, it does so much that you can't help but to applaud it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and. That's the problem, and the thing is some people weren't hurt, but just the fact they were criticizing the movie, those movies back then was enough for George. He wasn't being fully embraced in love as what he thought he was supposed to be, and he wasn't listening to what the people were saying. It's like, we know this is your vision and all that, but you know,
Yeah. Do you think if there wasn't a contentious relationship between him and the fans, he would have sold? Or do you think he would have took the money and ran anyway? Maybe he takes the money and run anyway. But what do you guys think?
I mean,
You know-
I think he got to the point where he was just kind of like, I'm done.
mhm,
Either
Yeah.
way,
mhm.
because honestly, what has he done since that's been of any significance?
True.
Nothing.
Not really.
You know, a bad indie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So I think he just got fed up with the meat grinder that is Hollywood, and was just like, you know what, I'm going to retire. I can do so now.
hmm Yeah. Well, that's just it. You know, he can. He got the money. He got how many billions of dollars? You know.
Yeah.
Ridiculous amount.
hmm
And that
Yeah,
would have never happened if he had not been savvy enough to be like, no, this is mine at the very beginning
hmm
when trying to sell
Mhm.
Star Wars, the first movie. Like, look, no, I keep the rights to this. And of course, everybody's like, it's going to suck anyway. So sure, why not?
Yeah.
Oh,
and, I
It was
mean,
what he wanted, and he made billions out of it.
there was no precedent for that though. What movie
Right.
before did the merch that Star Wars did?
None.
Oh, no.
Like nothing.
No.
You could have
Merch
never.
wasn't even a thing, really.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you had your Star Trek Migos, and you had, your Space 1999, but they didn't have many of them, and it's like, okay, it's we get a couple dollars off of it, but it's nothing much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I mean, some of that is just having the sense to do as much merch as he did, and partner with a toy company and get as much of that stuff made, and that was the real genius because no one had done it before. Like you said, this Star Trek Migos, but no one had really engaged. Star Wars really is the first proto like franchise for what we think of a franchise. You know what I mean? It's the one that laid the groundwork for how all these other franchises work. Because they weren't even the one that predates it, like Star Trek, wasn't doing a lot of things until after. You know what I mean? Because they were just innovative and not just creating a product, but creating everything around it, creating lore. Obviously, those novels from back in the day were a huge part of it. They just made sure that they were part of every medium. When video games came out, they were a part of that. They made sure that there was a Star Wars something in every medium as it could be available, and that was brilliant. That's what led to. That's why they have so much love for the EU. That's why there's so much love for that, because they set the groundwork, and this is how all franchise. We take for granted that this is how all franchises run, but they're the prototypes, the blueprint, of how to run a franchise. That was George's real genius.
Mhm.
And timing too. I mean, you
Yeah.
think about it. Okay, so he was the first to do the merchandising, which blew up, and at that point, kids were like, "I want absolutely everything." Then you progress to when the prequels started coming about, and it was video games. And prior to the prequels and after the prequels, Star Wars video games were massive.
Yeah, some of the best games in the industry overall.
Right. And it was just a perfect storm, so to speak. He hit everything right at the right time. And that's why the franchise was worth what it was worth.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say it's worth the same now, but
No.
Yeah,
when it was sold, it was worth billions because
when it was so, he probably
played your cards
undersold.
right. Well, I don't know. I mean, that was a lot of money.
It's a lot of
And
money, but
unprecedented.
Yeah, to be honest, I heard that Disney overpaid for Star Wars.
people say they overpaid, but I mean, they shouldn't have. Like the amount, what was it, like 4 or 5 billion?
Yeah, about $4 billion.
Yeah, I think it was
4
4
billion.
point something. Yeah, like almost
But
four,
all
four and a
the
half.
merch that this
So,
thing
yeah.
does, you're telling me it's not? That's not a.
It's not. It's not. They're hurting.
I mean, that
with
it used to do.
merchandising.
Now it's killed. But I mean, back in
Yeah.
the day, it was printing
Yeah.
money. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is just it. I mean, Disney screwed up a wet dream. I mean,
Yeah,
they were
did.
handed. Yeah, they were handed with a goose that laid 3 platinum eggs an hour, and now they're lucky to get a 10 egg every week with how they ran this franchise into the ground.
It
And
had to be close to $1 billion a year franchise just when it was running, because they still had they still have decent games come out even now.
Yeah.
They still had games, they still had merch. I mean, I just remember there would being a time where those action figures, even in the 2000s, where they were still everywhere. They were still kind of expensive, and people still bought them. And people still bought everything. They bought T-shirts. You still saw Yoda. You still saw that shit like it was new. And so, like, it was still a very popular franchise. Maybe I'm overestimating how much merch they were selling. No. It seemed like they were still selling a lot up until Disney ruined it. They were still selling a lot of merch. It seemed.
Yeah, you're not wrong with they were now Disney's just hoping to bank on Baby Yoda. They have nothing really else to call except for right. Baby Yoda is their benchmark now because the sequel trilogy failed. No one buys really the merchandise that they had for it. And even then, some of the stuff that they merchandised out was crap. Even the solo, obviously didn't sell that much out there.
It was unnecessary. Honestly, if you were going to do that, you would have had to have pulled the story from the solo books that were in the EU, which explained where he met and how he met Chewbacca, all the way through all their exploits up until they run into Luke and Obi-Wan at the bar.
Yeah. Which I thought didn't they want to do a trilogy and that's how it was supposed to end?
Yeah. I mean, they ruined the first one by not even following the first book. And what's the point at that point? Like, you're going to have to create two stories that aren't going to fit, or you go back and use the novels that were written, and then it still doesn't fit because it won't match with what you did in the first movie. Like the fact that they had to shoehorn, what's his face, in at the very end.
Oh, Darth Maul. Yeah.
Maul, yeah. You know, they did that for member berries.
Right.
Maul is not mentioned in any of the solo books at all.
Yeah, he doesn't even fit. It's just like, again, you're just trying to make up for a mistake that was, technically George made the mistake of killing him.
Yeah.
But just, make up for this mistake and, he's just here just because. Like, no.
And part of that was because the EU
brought him back.
So brought him back in a way.
No, the Clone Wars did. It was in the Clone Wars series that he came back.
Yeah, but the EU did that before the Clone Wars series happened.
Did they?
Like, the books existed before the Clone Wars series happened. And they did, and that's why I said they brought him back with those stupid fucking spider legs that were all mechanical. Those were all in the books. And that's why, technically, when you watch Solo and you get to that scene, they don't show him from the waist down.
Yeah, because actually he was supposed to have had the mechanical legs at that point.
Yeah.
Well, which Solo books are you talking about?
Well, he wasn't in the Solo books. That's what
No.
He's about the movie.
Because there was two. Because there's two different Solo series. There was a Brian Daley back in 1980, and then of course Ann Crispin did one in the 90s.
The Daily one, the original one, yeah.
Yeah, that was basically the first ones of the EU after the Splinter of a Mind's Eye.
Yeah. Yeah, and he wasn't in that at all.
No, well, he wasn't even thought of back at that date.
Yeah.
No, because the prequels hadn't happened yet.
Yeah, exactly.
It was post. It was one of the corrections that the EU did post prequels. When they killed him off in the prequels, the EU was like, "What the fuck?" Just like we were saying. So they brought him back, and I can't even remember which series the books that they brought him back in. But they brought him back just after the prequels, but before the Clone Wars. And then, of course, Disney, and when they got it, they fucking ran with it and shit all over the EU. And
yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Fucking pain in the ass.
What a... Shit.
But I've been saying this since the jump. After all these fucking sequel movies shit the bed, I was like, you could have gone back, said, you know what? The Skywalker saga is done at 6. happily ever after, whatever you want to say, and gone all the way back to KOTOR's or pre-KOTOR
Right.
with the Mandalorians and the Jedi Civil War and all of that. They could have
with
had
Mandalore and all that.
movies. Yeah, with the
Right.
original Mandalore, right? Or
Right.
one of the original Mandalores.
Right.
You could have had 3 movies, one, leading into the game, basically the first movie prequel to the game that explained the run up to the Mandalorian Wars, and then the Jedi entering those wars and fighting. You could have explained all of that and then done a movie that kind of rode the line of the games, and then a third movie explaining. You could have done Revan. You could have done a movie on what happened to Revan post game, instead of what they did with the online bullshit where he died, but now he's some entity that floats the fuck around and takes over bodies. Like, I hated that shit so much. But yeah, I mean, they could have really done a good trilogy in that time frame. But instead, they want to hang their hat on everything's about the Skywalkers. Everything's about the Skywalkers. No, it's not. Skywalkers are a portion of a far bigger story.
Right. Right. Exactly. I mean, that's why I'm not upset if you have something that doesn't have anything to do with Jedi, Skywalkers, or such in the Star Wars universe. I mean, we already had that with stuff like X-Wing, the Han Solo daily trilogy, and even the Lando Calrissian series by L. Neil Smith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, instead of making him, I don't know what,
a robot banger. He put a flashlight on a droid and started banging it. That's what, according to Disney.
Just makes me mad.
Robosexuals.
Yeah, robosexual. That's what I was looking for.
Damn.
But yeah, I mean, they could have, all that lore that could have, like, you could have just gone, because we really don't have a definitive answer other than what the games give you, which is pretty minimal, honestly, when you think about it, of what was going on during the Mandalorian Wars and then the Jedi Civil War. They barely touch on it. And it's like you have prime real estate to kind of go wherever you want to fucking go, as long as you hit certain talking points. You would have been fine.
Right. But you get a lot of hubris along with a lot of stupidity. They want to get in there and they want to make it their own thing. It's about them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, but they were too hung up on the whole Skywalker thing.
Yeah. What they're trying to do now is try to have everything a path to the sequel trilogy. Everything has got to try to connect to the sequel trilogy to give validation.
And there's you didn't leave enough room in between to even try to do that properly.
No.
As much as I didn't mind what was the prequel to 4 that they did. I can't remember the name of it. The one where they're stealing the
Rogue One.
Rogue One,
yeah. Like, you didn't even need to do that. We didn't need to know that story.
No.
It was unnecessary, and it didn't even match 4's explanation.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked good, but otherwise, it's not that good of one.
You know what? The thing that we needed to know out of all this shit was that L337 was the fucking, the centerpiece of the Millennium Falcon that made Han Solo do his fucking record-breaking shits in the Millennium Falcon, man.
Right, which set a precedent that didn't need to be set. Like,
No.
because if you look at the games don't give character to the ships other than what the ships can do.
Mm-hmm.
Like what they're capable of. So the Millennium Falcon being a piece of shit, but yet capable of, far beyond its apparent abilities was fine. That's the only character that the ship needed was the fact that it could overachieve in the right hands.
Right.
Now you got to make it like, oh, it's this robot's, like, who cares?
Right.
Because you don't hear anything from the. It's not like the Millennium Falcon started to smart mouth them at some point. We never seen it. It didn't matter.
Oh, I'm sure if they have a chance to try to do that, do a remaster, and to have her voice things over to Han Solo snide comments. You know how they are.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that.
No, I don't think they're going to do that either. But I'm just being a schmuck.
I mean, George already kind of fucked those up with the reissues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CGIing fucking not Boba Fett, Jabba the Hutt,
Right.
into a scene that you only kind of semi-finished because you didn't know how to put Jabba the Hutt in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
So you had him kind of CGI his way over his tail that looked so fucking awkward.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, would Jabba have let that happen? No. Han would have done that, and he would have been SOL.
Well, even beyond that, I mean, I understand from George's perspective, when they filmed that scene, the expectation was that, like, technically, if you take that Jabba the Hutt out of that scene, there's a dude standing there.
Right.
The original concept for Jabba was a humanoid type character, not that big flappy pile of crap that he was in the following movies. So all Han technically did in that scene was just walk around his back.
Mm-hmm.
But because you set the precedent at that Jabba is this big flappy blob of a thing, now you got to explain how does he walk around his back when his body is mostly there.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, exactly. That's why you see some of the early designs for Jabba the Hutt being this blob monster. In fact, they used one of the designs for the Rebels series, whatever that one crime lord played by Seth Rogen or whatever in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it started off as kind of the big overweight whatever monster type. Yeah. And then of course when somehow they decided, hey, let's make him a worm. Let's make him a slug.
Yeah, I mean that was. I mean I understand why he didn't want to make Jabba a humanoid because you already are. Up to your eyeballs in humanoid characters, you need to have something different. But he should have never put that scene back in that movie.
Well, it was not needed.
Well, it was unnecessary, and it just made it look worse.
Right.
Like the whole concept of it didn't work.
Mm-hmm. I mean, everything that they said in that scene was already done between Greedo and Solo. They didn't need to expand any more on that. It was redundant.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not sure if anyone checked out the prior chat, but I was about to get out of here because I got lots of stuff I got to get into because I'm trying to. I don't know if anyone saw last week. We joked about what I was working on. I was working on the Save BitCon website, which took way too long. And the people don't even know I made a website on this Save BitCon, and I made. And it's very simple, but it took me because I hadn't done web design in fucking forever. So it took me forever to relearn it and to even do the simple fucking thing that I did. And I did a video, and it took a lot of editing. That was the hardest editing I had ever done ever. Mm-hmm. It took me like 8 hours to edit a 2-minute video. But that kind of also inspired me to like, okay, there's other projects I want to do creatively. So it's not just me, oh man, you're just leaving. I am streaming. And that's another thing. I want to keep Sunday night. That's the one night I do want to stream is Sunday night, my little game stream, because people like it. And so I am going to stream later on tonight, probably, between 11:30 and 12:30 Central Time tonight. But I also want to work on similar projects that are going to take a lot of time. Plus, I got stuff, so I am going to get out of here. Great commercial. Yeah, please check out that commercial. I put a lot of work into that Save VidCon commercial. I did a whole different voice than I usually do. I don't even know what the fuck I was trying to do. And so I put a lot of work into it, but I'm going to do other projects, not necessarily in that vein, but that's still going to require a lot of editing, maybe even a music video. Maybe that's the goal. I want to do a music video over the next month.
Right.
And
I was gonna say, like, the part where you flicker it and say "wake up," like, you should really lean into that. Like you're trying to break through a broadcast, almost a Max Headroom style. Like,
yeah,
hey, wake up, and go back to whatever the norm is.
Yeah, that part took forever too. But that was like the best piece of that was like, but when it came, that came out great. It came out so great. And I was like, it took a while, but it was worth it. And I was like, oh man, that's what led me like, man, I'm gonna try to see if I can edit a music video. Because if I could do that, that was 2 minutes. It took hours and hours of editing. And took a lot. It took so much editing, so much capturing footage, capturing the clips I wanted, and then oh my god, it took so much editing. Hopefully the next time it takes less, but it was a lot of editing. But it was also fun. It was like, okay, I can do this. And it was a lot of tutorials. I didn't know how to do all that shit. I had to learn it. So it was a lot of fucking like that experience was like, man, I need to do more of this. And that's how, because when we talk about doing the channel, we talk about doing content, we gotta evolve. You know what I'm saying? So like, okay, I gotta evolve with my content and be more in this vein, even though it got as many views as anything else. It didn't do it great, but it's also like it's a lot different than just most of the normal stuff I do. So I was happy to do it, and I got other ideas for music related stuff, and I got a lot of content that I want to do. So I gotta I'll talk to you offline. It's something I kind of want to talk to you offline about as far as the show. But I appreciate being on. Sorry to take over, to leave.
No, you good, man.
No, you're good.
But,
No problem.
thank you guys for having me, and I'll talk to you guys later.
All right.
Yeah, talk to you later,
man. It was great having you, man.
Yeah.
See you.
Peace.
Peace. Yeah. Vigilante Williamson, y'all, has left the building.
He is going out to save us
From ourselves.
That's all good, man. It's actually we've been on for about 2 hours, man. So if you guys want to, we don't even know what the hell's going on with biker mice.
No, we didn't even get into the biker mice.
Well,
Man, we got into a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, there's going to be a new toy line, and there's going to be a new series, and here we go. Yeah, there's no official release for this film, so our series,
animated series, yeah. If they made a film, I think that would be a bad idea.
Yeah, so
well, guess that I guess that sums it up, man. So it's all good. It's all good. Actually, man, we had we had a great conversation about all kind of different shit, and that's exactly, that's the kind of shit that I like, man. I like to do more of that, just different shit, random shit, sometimes might be a similar, topic that a lot of other people are covering, but I really like to talk about shit that nobody's really talking about, man, or you hear very little about. And there's a lot of stuff out there that people kind of glance over, like that Biker Mike from Mars shit. And people people don't know that's what's going on, or that's even coming back, or is trying to come back, or whatever. It's there's a lot of things like that out there, man. And you don't know unless somebody brings it up and talks about it. Yeah, and that's what I like to do. I like to come with a lot of shit that ain't nobody really fucking with, man. So that's that's why I come with the little odd subjects, man. That's just a little different than than what you normally would hear, out of everybody we listen to, man. So you can get all the same shit from everybody else, man. Might as well come over here and catch it a little differently, man. And hear some different stuff, man. So, but I had a great time, man. Real good conversation, man, and fucking chat was killing it, man.
Of course, as always.
Oh,
Man, so shit. Y'all want to leave off with anything? New bomb.
Yeah, I might have something going on tonight. Still trying to get Red Shirt to respond in a consistent manner, but I may do a stream either tonight or tomorrow on my channel for more automotive stuff because that is my
Right.
thing.
Yeah, I missed the old videos, man.
Yeah, I haven't really done much, but I came across a comment on another video on YouTube, and the discussion was about, it was about 60s NASCAR, but it doesn't necessarily lean just to NASCAR. Like it's across racing as a whole. Like there's drivers' championships and there's manufacturers' championships. So, you could have a really good driver in an average car, and they may win the drivers' championship, but they won't win the manufacturers' championship. And the question basically was, what is more important, the manufacturers' championship or the drivers' championship, when it comes to a season's worth of racing? And especially back then when points were tallied differently and whatnot, because the argument kept going back and forth. Like, well, this company won the manufacturers' championship 7 times in a row.
Right.
And my response was, but they didn't win the drivers' championship 3 of those 7 years. So which was the better car? The guy who won the championship driving, did he have the better car? Or did the company who threw 20 or 30 cars at a series and just won because they had the most vehicles in the series, like which one carries more weight?
Right.
And he never responded back to me, so I thought it was kind of funny. I figured I'd pose it to Red Shirt and anyone who wanted to listen in. So at some point, either tonight or tomorrow, depending on when Red Shirt responds to me, we'll probably do something on that. I'll actually get the through the Apex series up and running, because I've had an intro for that for a year and I've never used it.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, shit. I'm looking forward to it, man. Like I said, I miss those videos, man. Miss y'all doing those, man.
Yeah. I mean, content is a little dry because there hasn't been a new release of a driving game in a number of years. I think I may end up starting to do more when Forza Motorsport comes back around, but
Right.
it's supposedly delayed. So who knows when that's going to actually go on sale? I mean, it could end up being all the way to the end of the year before that actually releases. So who knows?
Okay.
And doing it in the older games, people start to lose interest when the game's like 8 years old.
Right.
It's just not the same. It's not new.
Exactly. Well, I understand that. I mean, well, shit. Like I said, shit. Whenever you decide to do it, post a link, man, in the DMs, man, and that way we can go support, man. Definitely want to check it out.
Definitely.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I need to get on Red Shirt's case because he hasn't responded to me.
Oh yeah. Get on him, man. Tell him, and while you're at it, tell him I said what's up, man.
All right. Well, he was here earlier. I don't think he stuck around though.
Okay.
He ran. He saw you and ran.
Now, what you got going on, Baron?
Not much. Nothing much. Just pop talk on Wednesday with Pacific 414, and I'll see what I do here and there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's up, Leah Rose? What's going on?
Oh, Leah Rose.
Yeah. That's what's
President of the Phil McCracken Fan Club.
up. Yeah. Great to have you here. R.I.P. Tomb Raider. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well,
Yeah. That's
yeah,
just
I know.
destroyed.
That's for another conversation right there.
Mm-hmm.
But, tell you what, I'm gonna be working on some videos this week, so be ready to see some new stuff. And other than that, I'll just be doing what I do and catching y'all on whatever happens during the week. So with that, it's Vigilante Williamson, my boy New Bomb Turk, Baron Norman Tag, 24/7, 24/7 Fusion Media. We are the primetime kings of live stream, and we're out. Peace.
Peace.
You guys have a good weekend, man.
Take care.
Now, if I can get this right, come on. Yeah.